into the party wagon and hold on to your pizza. Recording in high definition, this is your Last Ronin recap, Epic Tales of the Sewers, featuring your host, Justin, and Eric. Say hi, Eric.
Hello.
With our special guest tonight, who you can clearly see. Some like to call him the third host of the show, who's never actually been on the show, but we talk about him enough. So, we want to welcome officially to Epic Tales from the Sewers, Mr. Rob Denner.
What's up, guys? What's up, y'all? Really appreciate the love from the show. Been listening for a while. I admit I'm a little behind on catching up. You know, I've missed the last couple episodes just because I've been so busy, but
Shame on you.
Yeah, we just had the last couple episodes we did, I did a long cut version of The Last Ronin where we did all 5 issues, and it's the only one that didn't have a pizza recipe. So it's a very special episode. So we did that. And before that, finally got episode 5 out. That took forever because my original recording got corrupted and I had to redo it again. And I just, it's like playing a video game again. You're like, oh man, I already did this, and you get that. So, and before that, we actually got to talk to Magnus, who was.
Dude, I can't tell you how many times that happened to me while recording shows for radio.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
But when I was in radio, the production studios weren't digital. It was all reel to reel.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was annoying.
Yeah, I can imagine. But we had Magnus on from Speedo Coggin, who did the animated Last Ronin. So
yeah,
so
I listened to that episode. Yeah, for sure. I love that.
And before we get going, just a shout out to my friends over at Chromatic Phantom. I was lucky enough last week to go check out, if you could see that, the Casey Jones Livewire, the premiere of the movie. So got to hang out with everybody, the actors, the producers. I've got some really cool Kickstarter stuff coming my way. Can't give them enough love. They did such a good job on this. And it was just, it subverted expectations at every turn. And you get to the end and they had like a rock video. And I'm like, oh my God, they understood exactly what this was supposed to be. They're like, it's cheesy, it's funny, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, like I was talking to you about it earlier. I mean, you guys know my obsession with Casey.
Yep. You're the Casey Jones guy.
You don't have an obsession with Casey.
That movie was really fun. Like, I watch a lot of fan films that are like, could be either way. But
there's one they just did at San Diego Comic-Con where the guy who did the Casey Jones movie was on the panel with the producers of the first and second Turtles movie. I'm like, that's a big deal. Yeah,
that's actually pretty cool.
You have to send me some of these fan films you're watching. I know there's just I know there's that other one, and this one is kind of different because it's a different take on Casey's race, and I'm like, I could see that, but is it even New York or is it LA? I think it's actually in LA. But I don't think they go into like the Turtles at all. So I'm like,
here's the thing: is Casey Eastman said it himself. Casey was based off of Jack Burton.
Yeah. Yep.
So like, I can see Casey in almost any '80s Kurt Russell role. You could do Casey Escape from New York, Escape from LA.
Bird on a
you know what I'm saying?
Overboard.
Casey and April and Overboard, that'd be great.
I mean, yeah, you're kind of there. The Thing,
Oh gosh.
Right? Yeah, actually,
the thing could totally just be Utroms.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. That would be great. Yeah, I'm for all of that stuff. And anytime that someone's bringing something new into like the Turtle universe and all that, I'm all for it. And it may not always be executed the best, but I'm totally for whenever someone wants to try to put something out there like that. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're doing the same thing. So.
Yeah, for sure. It's all pretty much like trial and error with new ideas. Some ideas work out, some don't,
Yeah.
I mean, then some ideas come back, 30 years later, like Last Ronin, or bringing Venus into the IDW run and changing her origin.
Yep. My hope is they find a way to bring back the turtle pies. That's what I'm hoping.
Just next time you're in San Antonio, hit up Ernest. He's got that turtle pie flavored shaved ice.
Yeah,
and the boba tea.
And he is the artist of our logo actually as well. So
I thought it looked familiar.
Every time I think of him when I see that logo. So it's pretty cool. Like there's certain things like with that logo. If you Google like Last Ronin issue number 5, our logo will come up on your Google.
Oh,
so
that's
it's
cool.
like it's pretty interesting, So it's like, yeah, I mean it's like 35th down, but still it's there.
It's still on the list. That's still SEO.
And that's his artwork, man. So it's like people have seen it. So
well, he's on that 12 artist Ronin 5 cover.
So funny that you mentioned covers. What a great segue. So one of the things that we had talked about is doing a rating of maybe your personal top 10 or top 5, however many you had, of the Last Ronin variant covers.
Okay.
Right? So the only rule is that no nothing that's like a custom cover, like a blank, like a any of those. So like what's your real cover? Because those are always going to win. If you have like a custom cover done by, and I know that's going to absolutely gut Eric because there's some cool ones that he's actually had done or helped have done and all that. But
if I had done more show prep, we could have gone over our least favorite Ronin covers too. But
we may still actually, but we may still. And
the one thing that I've noticed is like IDW saved a lot of their fire covers for additional printings.
Yeah, I
would have to agree with that one.
Yeah,
issue 2 and issue 3 are my 2 favorite issues for obvious reasons. But like, that Escorza second print from issue 2 and Ben's 4th print from issue 2, where they're pulling Raph out of the water, like those are 2 of my favorite covers for the whole series.
100%. And that's the whole thing too. Like with those. They started out with 70 something covers, and then how many did we end up with? There's probably over 100 at this point, and it's even just like variants where they've taken it. It's like, well, there's this cover now, and it's just black and white.
Right.
That looks kind of cool. So
some of them do look better in the ink, like the black and white. Like one of my favorite covers for issue 2 is the Camillo cover. The Sin City cover, and they did the metal, the sketch, and the color version. All 3 of those covers look fire.
So that's the one where he's sitting under the tree with Splinter's ghost, right?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful cover. Absolutely. That did not make my list, but I'll tell you, it's right on there because I was looking at that and I'm like, oh crap, I have this. It's like, this is a great cover.
Yeah,
how about Eric? How about you?
I really love. Obviously, I love that classic Sin City cover from the beginning, especially when they did the colors and stuff. But like that 1 in 25 by Santa Luca, where he's standing on the rooftop. Yeah. That's one of the ones I have graded back here. That I sent in for the signing. Like I love that cover.
So your first one that you're talking about would be the Camillo cover of number 2.
Now keep in mind these are in no certain order.
Yeah, and I get that. I'm the same way.
Because I can't decide. Like it's funny because I had more favorites in the later issues than I did in the 70 covers for the first issue.
I agree. I was just telling Eric about that too. Like I feel like they nailed it with number 5. And there was just so many good ones, and I'm like looking.
But going back to what we were talking about additional printings, even the 5th printing of number 1 or 6th printing, whatever it turned out to be, the connecting cover set where Ben did those watercolors, and has Eastman do the Ronin. That's a great set.
I'm still waiting on those, by the way. I think
from Kevin or from Ben.
From Ben.
Oh wow!
I got a CGC.
Probably you CGC'd them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I refuse to CGC connecting covers because it breaks up the image.
Oh, I was okay with it. Ben's assistant, Emily, she sent something to me. She's like, hey, do you want to do this for like an extra $180? I was like, yes. Yes, I do.
I'll be honest. I'm still waiting on Ronin 3 covers from CGC.
Yeah, I don't expect them anytime soon, to be honest. But, and this was funny, too, because it was like San Diego Comic-Con just happened, but it was like the previous Comic-Con from there. I'm like, all right. Yeah. Okay. I'm like, I know that's not the big one, but it was still like, those Ronin 3 covers that were at CGC, they were bought at Ben's blind sale for issue 3, which was
when the series is done now,
That was last year. That was like last August, wasn't it?
Well, he got them all back, but they all came back qualified for some reason.
Oh, that's weird.
So he came with a green label?
Yeah, they all came. Like everybody who ordered them. Everybody who ordered them because they got Kevin, Tom, and Ben to sign and sketch on them. They all came back green labels because I remember him showing them in the Discord, and he's like, "We got to send all these back." So.
Yeah, I think that was a problem with the San Diego ones. Like, and I saw that on Kevin's site because like the whole pallet came in all jacked up.
Oh yeah, that was a shipping situation.
Man. It happens, and I mean, do you count on that? All of those probably got destroyed. I'm sure they didn't. It's like all the ones that are busted up. I'm sure they didn't, but
some of the stuff has to be destroyed so it doesn't affect the print run.
Of course, yeah.
You know how many books I've thrown away when I was working at the shop? Like I'd have to go through
destroy lists. It was like that.
Well, you're probably pulling your hair doing that though.
Well, that's the thing is a lot of the time in the beginning when we had pull lists and we had to destroy stuff, like I would put them all in a couple long boxes and then my boss would be like, go through, take what you want. It's like rip the covers off the rest and throw them in the dumpster.
Nice.
So like Department, I have a couple of copies of the first print of like Department of Truth #1 and stuff like that. Just basic stuff.
Good book. So let's ask Eric here. Eric, what's one of your favorite covers from this? And it could be from any of the issues.
Well, like everybody else was saying, was issue 2, the 4th print with the first to fall. I mean, that's very, very sentimental, as well as Ben Bishop's issue 2 first print.
Yeah,
that one really hit me hard. I mean, that to me that was by far like my number 1 on the list.
I mean, that artwork is everywhere these days. It was on the Ronin label.
Yeah. You're right.
So I mean, it's to me it was just very, very, very meaningful what he did. I mean, it hit hard. And well, other books, both of you already know that I'm a big fan of Mike Ruth. So I mean, between his issue 5 and 4 and his issue 1s, that are up there as well. I also write Ray Callahan's. I know that's an odd one where it has like a lot of the green around it. It's on issue 1.
I know the one you're talking about.
You're talking about the El Ray Comics exclusive.
Yeah. Chris Callahan. It was El Ray Comics.
Yep.
Yeah. I got that. That was one of my first variants that my wife got me. So I mean, to me, that was like, it's more sentimental to me. I mean, I like the cover. It stood out to me. It was green. It was cool looking.
It was definitely one of the ones I mean, like I said, I didn't pick up a lot of #1 covers just because there were so many. And I wasn't going to do that. But that was one of the early ones I picked up. I really liked the that Comics Kingdom, the Sadat Shah #1 where he's calling out of the grave.
Yeah.
That's actually I think he's going to be at C2E2 this weekend. So maybe he'll.
I wish I could go, man. It's just too close to Granite.
Yeah. It's is it like 2 weeks away?
Granite's about a month away.
Granite's in September.
Yeah, Granite's in September.
Randy is trying to get me up there so bad.
I would love to go too, but C2E2 is usually my big one, so I've got to go there. I mean, we've got the four voices.
Well, I wanted to go to Fan Expo, but then it fell through, and then
that was a good time. It was.
Okay.
It was not.
See, this is the thing: is once I get this house sale all done with, and I'll have money to spend next year. I'm going to travel for cons, but I think I'm going to save most of my big cons for 2024 for the 40th anniversary.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
That's where I'm kind of at a little bit. Like I want to go to Granite so bad, but
we should get a table next year, Eric.
I mean, I think that'll be a big thing for especially for us going up there. I mean, it's the 40th year anniversary. We TMNT all the way. I mean, we can have Rob Air sitting with us too.
I'll tell you right now, I'm planning on going to San Diego in 2024.
Man, that's going to be
I'm planning to hit San Diego and New York, just because I know that any of the big cons are going to be doing some kind of tribute. So
the exclusives, I imagine they're going to have exclusives and exclusive covers, and it'd be cool to see some of these guys that haven't been out in a long time out. Like the cool thing is with these Ronin covers, they got some Steve Levine artwork. Like someone who's like you really haven't seen him doing turtle stuff in a while. I can't remember the last time he did like a cover.
Right. Well, I mean,
Steve's
got his whole thing with Shellbacks, and
which actually closed. So
yeah, I know, but I'm saying like they still run the Facebook page and the website,
yes.
and they still sell stuff. So like, and I've met Steve a couple times at different cons, and I mean, I grew up on his artwork. Like everybody, there's people who grew up on the older comics and the cartoon series, but I grew up on the adventure stuff.
Yeah.
The early Ryan Brown and Ken Mitroni and Steve Levine stuff, I'm
actually looking at getting one of those. They had something on Instagram. Dan Berger was doing commissions. So I got in last minute. So it's going to be Berger and Brown, and Steve Levine's going to do the covers the colors on it.
I saw that as soon as it came up. I was like, okay, I'll wait until next year when commissions open back up, because there are very few artists that I still want something from. And very few artists I can still get something from, because a lot of people are closing their commissions. So, but,
and I was surprised that there was nothing from Michael Dooney on these. Like I got a sketch card. I got a sketch card from the Last Ronin for him.
Yeah, those Last Ronin sketch, those they look like little blanks.
Oh,
those are cool.
But no cover, and it blew my mind. Like no.
I wish you would have.
No Mike Dooney. There was nothing. I mean, we had Ryan Brown, but it was the other Ryan Brown. So it's like, which is great. That's a great cover too, by the way. Issue number 1, but didn't make my top 10 list though. So, but we didn't get a lot of the really classic guys, and I mean, I was hoping that they would go obscure here and be like, yeah.
Well, I mean, like speaking of classic guys, one of my favorite covers is the Lawson cover for issue 4.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That BJ Hahn did the colors for, and then they did the black and white variant.
So that's the one with him and April and Casey Marie Jones on it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say this about that cover. That is some of the nicest looking Jim Lawson art that I have ever seen. In terms of everything I've ever seen, that is like the cleanest, sharpest, nicest art that I've ever seen of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm a big fan of Jim's work.
You are a big fan?
Work. Yeah, big fan of Jim's work. I've been a fan of Jim's work for a while.
Yeah, Jim is considered to be one of the nicest guys in the
100%. Like one of my favorite memories. I mean, I'm going to be going to Granite, continuously now. But one of my favorite memories from last year was just, like I've been a big fan of Jim Lawson for years, and I've always heard about how nice he was. And I didn't meet Kevin until 2020, and he was really cool. But like, we're all staying in the hotel. I come down in the morning, I, getting my coffee at the front desk, whatever. And he walks up and he's like, "Hey, Rob, how you doing? How's your day going?" And I'm like,
That's
you don't expect the greats to remember your name and stuff like that, and just talk to you like a normal person. On top of the fact that Jim is so humble, like he very much undervalues his own work, and if his wife isn't there with him, like you can get good deals.
Oh, geez. Okay. That's fun. I think as a writer too, like Jim, like he kept the franchise going for at least 12 years on his own as a writer, like Karai is.
Well, that's why I'm such a big fan. I'm a writer at heart too. So like, yeah, that was one of the reasons I was such a big fan of Lawson to begin with. But yeah, I don't know. And I was disappointed that Lawson only really got that one cover as far as Ronins go. But like,
it was surprising actually.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing is, I think a lot of the like Steve Levine and Lawson and everything, I think that all came out of the woodwork later on, because as you saw from issue 1 and all those covers, they went with like Matina and stuff like that, and like people who, in my opinion, are great on like Batman.
Yeah, like Peach Mokomo.
That's the thing, is they wanted to grab artists that would sell books that not necessarily have drawn turtles before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and IDW knew this was going to be a cash cow, which is why they're still milking it. And they were just like, you know, well, we'll grab every artist we can, you know, and then they were like, okay, well, we got too many, so we're going to cut it down. And then we're going to open it back up again. Like, you know, I was a little annoyed at that, but
I think we all were.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, too. You think about how much money just even the blank ones are going for. You know, you've got blanks in white, then you've got, you know, blanks in the matte black, and you've got the glossy black.
Well, that's the thing is, before IDW killed the variant program in issue 2, we were supposed to get an obscurity for every issue.
Mm-hmm.
Those double platinums that are going for like $5,000 on eBay, those were supposed to be the issue 5s, you know?
Wow, but, $5,000. And that's not even the highest amount that I've seen, you know. That's so crazy.
Well, those are they're double-sided metals. There's 11 made from issue 1s and 11 made from issue 3s.
Yeah.
So it's a blank metal, is what you're saying.
It's a blank metal. It's platinum.
The only thing on there is the trade dress.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like if you have that, maybe you'd appreciate it, or like what would you even do? Would you have something etched into it? Like what would you go about? Like get someone to write on it with like a marker? Like it seems kind of fragile.
Right.
You know, where it's like stuff like as soon as you polybag it, it's gonna wipe off. Yeah. So I would be kind of skeptical on that.
Spray paint
me personally. Yeah, what would you do?
Stencils and spray paint it.
You could. You know what? You could. Absolutely. Then it just smell up the rest of your collection.
I don't even know what I would do. I mean, to be honest with you, if I ever got one of those, I'd leave them blank and just send it to the CGC.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
All through.
I'll give you guys my next one. My next one is a number 5, the Mike Chrome one-stop shop comic shop.
Is it the split with the 3-pan? Yeah.
Ronin,
that's one I missed out on. I was going to get it when I first saw it, but then I was just like, I can do without it. But it was really, that was, you know, One Stop as a shop got a lot of great variants.
That one is some of the most detailed work that I've seen, and especially on like how like you see the aging on April's face, and you see a young Casey Marie, and it's like this is like the best that we've seen of Casey Marie. And, Ronin is so underrated. Like,
did you see? Sorry to cut you off.
No worries.
Did you see the Ken Berube cover that One Stop released for issue 4?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Where it's just Casey Marie.
Yes. Yep.
That I really like. See, a lot of people, a lot of shops and artists were like they weren't allowed to read the books, so like Ben had the advantage to start drawing stuff that you know didn't have to. That was part of the book, you know. Like I love his issue 3 Casey Marie because it's a mirror of his issue 2 with Mikey. You know, obviously the Noah Salt Casey cover for issue 3.
That's a good cover. Yeah. I just think it's issue 3.
Honorable mention to the David Sanchez cover, the Wicked Gator issue 3 with Ronin and the Casey mask behind him.
I have that one too.
That was a great cover. But like a lot of people, you know, like it's like Stan Yak. Like a lot of people threw Easter eggs in it just from the Turtle franchise that didn't necessarily have anything to do with Ronin. Like I like the Yak cover, you know, because he tossed the turtle van and the news van in the background, and that was a cool little Easter egg. You know, Mike Roos did what was it? His that issue 5 Yellow Snow cover where he had like Bebop and Rocksteady and
if you look on issue 1, he has quite a few of the other ones on there too, like the heads and stuff. I think.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he did a lot of like it's like George Perez level detail Easter egg stuff in there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Chrome one I really liked. And I mean, the next one on my list was literally the Mike Ruth wraparound cover where it starts out as like the turtle's jumping out and he looks like Raph in like that iconic pose, and then the wraparound part is like all red inked.
You're talking about the number 1 the rooftop homage, the wraparound?
Yep.
Issue 4.
Issue 4.
Nope. Yep. Yeah, issue 4. Yep.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite covers.
I know.
I love Mike's work. I love Mike's work. I know you guys do too, but like, yeah, that's probably my favorite of his Ronin cover.
Oh my god, it's so good. Like the detail that he has between like the facial features and like the costume and like even the feet, like just going back to like Turtles, like it's when you have an artist that like draws this stuff, sometimes they mess these things up in the proportions, all that. He is always on point with feet and hands, 100%. And
Definitely
I really
not Rob Liefeld.
which you know what? I bought that cover of number 5. I love it, but doesn't show feet. It's 100% doesn't show feet.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's kind of what you expect, to be honest.
Can't have Last Ronin without the foot.
Yeah, really. And they were sending this joke out there about how Liefeld was going to do this. He was going to do like a comic about the foot and all that.
Oh, that's been floating around for a good 5 years.
He's going to be at C2E2, so I'm going to hopefully have him sign his cover.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Liefeld because when I met him, he was a nice guy. And he wasn't just nice to me. He was nice to kids. He was nice to everybody in his line that came up and all that. So, you can believe the hype and all that. People make mistakes on social media and all that. This guy is a fan of him because of how he treats children. And when you see that, that's a big thing for me. If you're just like, hey, kid, how you doing? Calls a kid over out of nowhere in a Deadpool thing just so he can sign his shirt and stuff like that.
Well, I remember way back in the day meeting Todd McFarlane.
Oh, wow.
Before Spawn blew up, and he was just doing like the toy lines and stuff. And me and my buddy and his little daughter were walking through the Comic-Con, and we stopped, and he was talking to us, and my buddy's daughter was playing. It was a Violator prototype when the toy lines were just starting to come out or just starting to get put together. And he's like, yeah, my name's Todd. I got this comic book, blah, blah, just talking. And he was local. He's from Michigan.
Yep.
And, he gave us a couple of signed copies and everything and whatever. And then we went to walk away, and my buddy's like, he says to his daughter, hey, you got to put that back. He's like, no, she can have that.
So she ended up with a prototype of Violator? Wow. Yeah. I remember when those things came out, too. That was like a whole nother game. Just because the big thing out at the time was your Batman animated series, Star Wars from Kenner, and like the Toy Biz X-Men figures. I always wished that McFarlane Toys had done a licensing agreement with Bisley and Body Count. Oh man, those figures would have been fantastic. Now that cover, the one cover that he did, was also not on
for issue 5. That's a great cover.
It was close, and I mean, I just finally got to meet Biz at Fan Expo and all that.
I'm disappointed because I've yet to meet him, and they weren't able to secure him for Granite this year.
He is an interesting,
which is definitely going to disappoint Mike Ruth. I'll tell you that for sure. Yes. Because me and Mike were planning to hang out with Biz, but
I could imagine. Like I don't know. It was like a Viking behind a drawing desk and all that. I'm like, oh man, I expected him to like get up and whop somebody in the head. It's like, oi! It was just really interesting. Another person you could probably watch for like a while, just interact with customers. You'd be like, what are you looking at? It's just Scottish brogue and all that. Like it was pretty cool. It was a cool dude to meet. Yeah, but his cover unfortunately is not in my top 10. I did get it. He was selling his cover for $100 and he was going to sign it. I paid I think $29 for it in the Eastman fan club.
I grabbed 2 copies because Mike Ruth was like, "Hey, are you an Eastman fan club member? Can you grab me a copy?" And I'm like,
nice.
Yeah. Like, I'll just bring it. I was supposed to have it signed at Motor City because Bisley was there, but I was working the whole time, so I was supposed to walk around. Like, I walked in there, I dropped off 5 blanks at different artists at Artist Alley, and I said, I'll pick them up tomorrow morning. And I turned around and just went to work, and I worked the whole time, so I didn't get to really see anybody.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah.
That stinks. And that was that pre-pandemic or?
No, this was last year's Motor City.
Okay. Very last year. Well, yeah. So let me ask you guys this one. You had talked about this before, the Sin City cover, right? The medals and all that they had. So the Ben Bishop Sin City covers of issue number 1. I mean, that's a super, super iconic cover. He's holding the Psy, and I mean, it's super clean lines because it's Ben Bishop art. It's the T-shirt that if you're in the Bish Kids club, That's the
Probably
first
one of the most merchandise, and well, it's on the action figure boxes too.
Yes,
now.
it is. It's on one of them. Yes, I don't believe it. I don't believe it's going to be on the NECA one, but it's on the previews exclusive one.
Right. Well, that's the thing with that artwork is it was never supposed to be a Ronin cover.
Yeah, it was promotional.
It was
right?
Bish box art.
No kidding.
Because when I first joined, my first Bish box was that art.
No
and
kidding.
it was the first time Ben was doing full art. Because before that was the first actual, Bish box size like we get. Because before that, it was all individual, like when they had not less than 100 members. So I got in just under 100 in like August of 2020 or something, right as he was gearing up to do Ronin. Like I have Ben's first Ronin sketch cover. I got it in an auction, and
that's
but
great. How does that
art,
one look?
Got it around here somewhere. Yeah, he because he did that 3-cover deal with One Stop, the motorcycle and stuff like that. And then Matthew Riggle from Sin City reached out to him and said, "Hey, do you have anything?" And he was like, "Oh, well, I have this." And it got turned into that. And then when they released those red covers, somebody said, "Hey, you should do metals in different colors."
Yeah.
And that's how that turned out.
Wow. That's badass too. And I mean, for anyone listening, like if you check these up, it's Sin City, CYN City, and check the covers for these because it's like that's pretty much like if not the first most iconic Last Ronin image, it's the second, and it's when you think of it, like that's what pops in my head. So it's super iconic, and that's got to be on everybody's top 10 list. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't have the metal, but I actually have the Sin City red, the red one.
That's nice.
To be honest with you, big shout out to Travis Doss for that one. He gave it to my son. It was a 9.6, and then Ben signed on the back of it with a big old sketch on the back of it, the back of the CGC book, because he gave it to my boy because he scored pretty high on the gifted class. He scored like a 94, needed a 95.
Nice.
And all that stuff. So he ended up giving that to him because of that. I was telling him about that.
And that's awesome that he put the remark on the back too, so it didn't ruin the cover. Yeah.
He put it on the back of the CGC case, and it's signed by Ben and everything. He did it at Lexington. Big shout out to Ben for doing that. Appreciate that. And
that's
Travis.
Awesome. Again, another great guy just to talk with and all that. And
absolutely,
we are all three of us members of the Bish Kids Club. So I enjoy being there, and I think his work is awesome. It's just like as we get to see even more of it, it just keeps getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Pretty cool.
I think a lot of these artists have been getting better and better. I mean, the more that they do it and all this other stuff, I mean, they're getting better and better and better.
Speaking of another artist here, we had talked about earlier. Rob has a couple Ashcans up there. I wanted to throw out an honorable mention to the Ashcan cover by Andy Kuhn.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I mean, that's the whole thing. Like eventually it would be replaced and all that, but that is an iconic cover. And the fact that like it had to get replaced, like word for word, not really word for word, but that was kind of like how they did the comic, and they just did it panel by panel. I think that's a great cover, and I really love that original Andy Kuhn cover. So I would say honorable mention to that.
That's half the reason I like. That's half the reason I love the Escorza second print, because that Drowning Sigh was originally a cover A for issue 2, and that was Andy Kuhn's art.
Oh, I never realized that was him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there was the unreleased cover. Because they had replaced him. He had already done a cover A for issue 2. And they just basically homaged that with the Escorza, was what the Escorzas did. It's because I saw that early cover on Rich Horn's site that, and obviously I saw the cover A that was released. I'm like, I called out Ben. I said, "Oh, so you killed my boy first?" And he's like, "What? No. Because like he would show, like when he was drawing Ronin 2, he showed like little snippets, and it was like nothing, no art or anything, just colors. And I was like, You see, the drowning side prince that we got, with
Oh,
the,
so this
the
this is
swash of
when
blood. And I'm like,
Mhm.
and I saw the
I know what you're
swash of
talking about.
red in the water, and I thought back to the Coon cover and the cover A that was released, and I'm like, oh, so y'all killing Raph first. Thanks for that. You guys kind of
Yeah.
suck. And he's like,
Appreciate
what?
that, Ben.
No. He's like, no, that's not what happens. And I'm like,
That's
He
part of
said
the
he.
fun of the book. Like we kind of knew going into issue 2 it was going to be Raph, and then we're like, okay, what's going to be next, and then what's going to be next, and that was part of the fun is to see where. And I mean, I say fun in a morbid way, but it was like, okay, where are these guys going to fall within that? And then issue 3 happens to be Leo and Casey. Issue 4 is Donnie and Splinter.
did
Then
you ever hear? Did you see that? They did an interview not too long ago, and Ben mentioned something that I myself had seen on Reddit, where they talked about how each turtle died in a different element.
Interesting. No, I
Raph
didn't.
died in the water. Leo died in a fire. Donnie, they said wind because of the arrows, and then Mikey died in the mud.
Okay,
So I thought that was an interesting take.
it is an interesting
way to look at it.
I guess the wind. I mean, that's a sort of a stretch.
It's
for
a little
Donnie.
bit of a stretch. I thought that one was a bit of a stretch, but
I could see like artistic licensing and all that. You had mentioned earlier that issue 3 was your favorite. Is that accurate, Rob?
yeah, I'd say 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
I mean, Casey and Raph have always been my favorite characters. Raph's death killed me. I mean, this is why I was really like, I loved the Ronin series. And, when they announced Lost Years, it was like, okay, cool. But as far as I know, they're not going back and covering that 10 years yet. And that was my biggest gripe, was that they jumped 10 years from issue 2 to issue 3. And I understand why they did it. They need to move the story along.
Now it makes sense, right?
There's no emotional impact. The only death that gets any emotional impact, I mean, other than like immediate emotional impact when Splinter dies, like the only death that gets any emotional impact is Mikey. And I understand that. And they went through and, in the interviews I read, it was like, it's just a death that shouldn't, it doesn't need to have that much impact, but it does. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get to see Casey grieving over Raph's death.
Yeah.
Because Raph left him behind that night. I mean, everybody's dead, or at least Mikey thinks everybody's dead by issue 3, which is why he takes off. But like, you don't see any emotional impact from Leo and Casey's death. You know
You
what
do
I'm
on
saying?
that 4th print cover, and that's the only place.
Yeah.
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 So I think that's why that one hits so hard, is because that's the only catharsis that you get. It's like, oh, did they go and get the body? Well, they did, and it's canon because it's on the cover. But if it's like a Marvel comic, you can't trust the cover.
I joked around for quite a while. I even started writing up a little bit of a script. I was like, Ben, you just need to go back and do a micro series, Target Ronin. They pulled Raph out of the Agent Bishop pulled Raph out of the water and turned him into restarted his Target R experiment.
Yep.
Mikey has to fight him.
Well, he already knows how to draw that, so
yeah.
Yeah, or you could do like the whole urban legends thing where you turn him into the cyborg turtle. You can go that way.
Oh, yeah.
And we speculated on all this stuff too. I'm gonna say my favorite was issue 4, because issue 5 was great. Like, and I think the ending is awesome. Like, that's the way that it had to end, and it just everything made sense.
I'm still a little on the fence about the epilogue. I
don't know, man. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited, and I'm excited to see what happens. I'm a little on the fence about it, especially, I mean, I know it has no through line continuity, but like what they're currently doing in the IDW with, the different turtles, whether they're clones or whatever they are, it's, I don't know, we'll see what happens. I guess the Lost Years is going to give us glimpses of the future.
Oh, that would
probably
be cool.
going to be Casey Marie training the new turtles.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
I would not be surprised if at least one of these new turtles is a female.
I'm okay with this. I mean, name it Lita. I'll be happy.
Albino turtle.
I love Lita. Are you kidding me? Like, 2 of my favorite characters are Lita and Pepperoni. You know,
Yeah.
both strong female lead characters. So I
Yeah,
love Pepperoni.
but don't do what IDW did in that future, that flash forward where like Pepperoni was further mutated and had like giant arms. That kind of looked ridiculous.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I like kind of the Pepperoni now, you
Yeah.
know, and all that, like the one that hangs out with Alopex and Raph and all that, and like I think that she's just cool. I like her, and you know, and I'm a Jenica fan. Like I think that the whole idea behind how they did this, and he had such a long game on it. It was 48 issues, I think, before he got to the end point that he wanted to. Tom Waltz is a freaking genius, man.
Yeah.
Like he's
there was a lot of
Claire Montague.
foreshadowing and a lot of planning for that, you know.
And I mean, nobody can say they didn't see this coming. Nobody.
Right.
This is like Chris Claremont planting seeds in 1982 that he plans on doing in 1991. You know,
Yep.
it's like that, and you're like, oh
Yep.
man, Tom Wolfe, wow, you know, it's so cool. So I'm a big fan. Let's.
Speaking of issue 4, like I said, you know, like that Lawson cover I really liked from issue 4, but all the Sin City homages that Ben was doing, like when he did the Splinter cover for issue 4.
Yes,
I love that Splinter cover. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm.
You know, with the red sun in the background, and like, I mean, I really like that exclusive that we got in the box for issue 5 with the sun in the center, the metal.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, where it's kind of a mashup of homage to his issue 1 and then issue 2.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. It's a really cool cover, and like he did it Mirage style, you know, red bandanas, you know.
Yep.
I mean, that is what the highest print run on a metal cover.
Yeah,
250.
250.
Yeah, that's the highest print cover. Yeah,
and there was only 225 of us who have boxes.
Yeah, I didn't get one. I didn't get one myself. I actually went down to the $5 tier because I have other stuff that I'm getting involved with right now.
For sure.
So
like when I joined the club, I jumped in at 200.
Yeah.
I jumped in at 200. I had, this is back during quarantine when I had friggin' pandemic money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I jumped in at 200 because I had heard about Ben Bishop and I had heard he was going to do Ronin, and I figured this was the only way I was ever going to get a commission from him. So that's how I did that. And then I immediately dropped down to sketchy. And then when I lost my job the last time, I dropped down to the 25. I was like, I want to still at least get a box, you know?
Yeah.
Because you never know. Like, you don't know what he's going to toss in the box from time to time. Like, that puzzle is great. I wish the art that they used for the puzzle had been made into a cover, you know, because that was originally a concept cover.
There's some cool stuff that he's done, and I mean, I was talking about this with Eric. Like, he has a skateboard deck that he made of that cover of number 2, where the Ronin is sitting there, and you know he's got all the stuff laid out in front of him and all that. And it's like that end scene from issue number 1 where you know he's gonna commit seppuku. You know, and I'm like, wow, that looks awesome. You know, like I would put that on a clock. I would put that on a bandana, on a jacket. Like that's just like so iconic. Just like that Sin City one. It's like
that and its sister cover for number 3, the Case Marie standing in front of the bench.
Yep.
You know, those are two of the boards, 2 of the deck. Like I have
a medal of that one. Actually,
I have the regular. Like I have this one.
Oh, so you've got that Sin City deck.
Yeah, this is the white deck with the red. Yeah,
that's gorgeous.
Hi, this is Adam, a.k.a. Casey Jones from Casey Jones Livewire, and you're listening to Epic Tales from the Sewers. Time for a knuckle sandwich, punk.
You know, but there have been a couple other decks that I need to get. I would eventually like to get from them.
I'm gonna throw out another honorable mention. The director's cut, the Kevin Eastman cover, where it's black and kind of like the blue pencil and all that.
Okay,
that is gorgeous too.
Well, that's the 1 in 10 cover, just blue line, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I like specifically this version where it's got like the white paper with the black and blue lines on it, and it's the director's cut. That was
what did you think of the issue 3 exclusive blue line?
By Eastman or by Ruth? Who was that?
No, by Eastman. The Eastman.
I like all the Eastman covers.
Yeah, because it was like that rough blue line version of what became the cover A.
Mm-hmm.
What I thought was so cool, like when I first saw cover A for number 3, which is probably one of my favorite cover A's. Like I immediately, like in my mind, I was like, that looks really familiar. And it didn't immediately click to me that it was a Death and Return to Superman homage.
Oh,
you know,
it actually didn't click with me either.
Because you've got the buildings either side, and it comes in, and instead of the flagpole with the cape, it's the sword with his mask.
The sword with the mask. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just so everybody knows what we're talking about, we're talking about the cover for issue number 4, or is this 3? 3A?
Issue 3, yeah.
Cover A, the main cover.
Leo's sword, your main cover, and Casey's mask, and then there's the thing flying. So yeah, it is just like that. I didn't think about that. I probably did at one point, but I forgot. But I'm like, I didn't even think about that. The death of Superman. Yeah,
I had so many people ask me to get that one for him.
Really?
Like, yeah, because there were so many people asking me to get. I had to get so many covers for people. People were asking me to get off of Kevin Eastman's site, and that was like one of the big ones. They're like, "Oh, I want this one. I want this one."
Well, so, I mean, like that cover was the inspiration for the Bleaker.
Yep.
Bleaker's just a more detailed version of that, and then Bleaker is basically the connecting cover to the STCC for number 3. Like you could lay those two together, and they would pretty much be connecting covers.
Yeah. I've never tried that. That's kind of cool too. So, yeah, that's a great cover, and I mean. In color, black and white, in metal, like any way that you slice it, that's still a really good cover. That Ben Bishop San Diego Comic-Con exclusive cover.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad I picked 2 of those up when I did.
Well, then he homaged that same image when he did the rock bottom. What was it, the 5th or the 6th printing of number 1?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the 5th. Is it the 5th of number 1 that's gone up in price like considerably?
Well, it was. See, that's the thing. It's weird where the print counts come in because you had SDCC, which is the connecting set, and that was supposed to be like 5th print, and then you had Ben's, which is that rock bottom cover, which is supposed to be 6th print, but it was never really like they were both labeled 5th print at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, there's too many covers. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I kind of get like it's fun. It's fun to get and talk about this and all that. None of this literally affects the story, which we loved, and it's like realistically, as soon as I could, I picked up the trade paperback because that's what I'm going to read.
I'm waiting on the exclusive version with Ben's art on the dust jacket.
Oh yeah, that is.
I'll pick up a cover A as a reader. My buddy actually texted me like. My buddy who got me back into Turtles way back when, he texted me the other day, and he's like, I picked it up. He's like, I'm finally about to read Ronin. And I'm like, well, make sure you call me and let me know what you thought.
Great. And I mean, there were enough places that were doing the...
Is there a cover gallery in there?
There's a couple. So
I think so. I haven't really went through mine.
The Ben Bishop one's in there. Like, thank goodness.
That's why I picked that one out to send into a signing.
Your Lawson one's here. Oh wait,
that's not Lawson.
Hold on. There you go.
There you go, for sure.
So that one's there, and like I said, that's probably my favorite piece I've ever seen of his artwork. Ben Harvey, and I actually have Ben Harvey's art on my wall on the side there.
That was a Toy Wiz cover or whatever, right?
Yep, you got your Roiland in there.
Yeah, Toy Wiz. Yeah, that was from Toy Wiz. I've looked up so many.
See, like I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan, but like. I think Roiland's style is I think it was too cartoony for the serious subject matter of Ronin. And I said that from the jump. I'm like, some people like that art. Some people love his stuff regardless. But like, I don't know.
I'm not going to be someone that disparages art from people, but I'm going to tell you that his style is not for me. And I don't own a single one of the covers. I couldn't justify the expense for what they were going for.
Some of them looked cool, like the one with Baxter and Mutagen Man and stuff.
That's the only one.
But that goes back to what I was saying. Like these artists don't read the story; they're not allowed to, so they just pull random stuff from the Turtle franchise
Yeah.
and hoping it sticks. It's like when I was working at the shop and everybody was kind of, all these regular people were coming in and just jumping in on Ronin because they were like, oh, the turtles are dead or blah, blah. And you'd have people come in and they'd be like, they'd pick up a Jenica book and they'd be like, hey, does this have anything to do with that Last Ronin story? And no offense to the Jenica story, but my instinctive response was, God, I hope not. Because I just don't. Only because I don't think she would have fit into the story.
Yeah, I mean, this is done back in '87, so I mean, this is original story with Kevin and Pete, and so I mean, it had to be simple. You know what I'm saying? They had to keep it, simple.
It was simple too.
Well, you saw those original drawings for Last Ronin, right?
Yeah.
Like the ones he did way back then that looked more like Frank Miller's Ronin, like more that style. There was a lot more edges to the costume. Ronin had like the traditional, armor with like kind of almost like Donatello's hat.
Yep.
In the series. I mean, it was a little clunky, but it was the 80s style, it looked more like, what they wanted to base it on. And that's all it was. It wasn't supposed to be a huge event. It was like, well, if we end this, how are we going to end it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we going to be? Where are they going to be in 40, 50 years, whatever? And
they made it slick by giving him that Green Arrow, Doctor Doom style hood, know, and I mean, like, they're like, hey, how about this? But we're going to make it slick and cool. Like, I like that a lot.
Well, you obviously know what they were saying. Like, we originally said it like, 30 years in the future. So the original Last Ronin timeline was 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you imagine this story being set in 2017?
No.
Having lived through 2017,
yeah, no, absolutely not. I did think at first that it was pretty close to like Valiant Comics Rye. Like, if you've ever read Rye, like, it's really close to a similar type of story to the first issue of Rye, and I was like, like, there's like, he meets a plucky young female character, and he has some kind of things going on, and he's fighting the sentries, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like Rye, but still, it's really awesome. So. But sticking with it, it's like, oh man, this is just like cool because the places they're going with your familiar characters, you're like, oh, April's here, but what's her deal? Why is she missing a hand and a leg? So it deviates in those areas, but it just was.
But it's like we even go back like to before Ronin came out, or right after that first issue, or before we even knew it was Mikey. Like part of me was like, they shouldn't even tell us which turtle it is until the end, until the last issue. If they had us guessing the entire time, they probably would have been able to pull off the dynamic that they had, but still.
It's audience alienation where I think that you would feel almost owed it, like in reading through it. I could have seen if they made it to the second issue, but to tell the story that they wanted to with like the turtles that died and all that, I think that they had to tell us. And they could have done it in the beginning of the second, like absolutely, like end of first, second. But the cool thing too, 48 pages. It's essentially the second issue that they tell us because you've got usually 22 pages on a regular comic.
Oh yeah, these were planned to be oversized from the jump. So.
Oh yeah, like oversized and double size. So it's like reading an annual. So it's there's a lot to these.
Right.
They could have made a novel out of this, seriously.
Absolutely. And I mean, when you read this thing, it reads like one.
Yeah, I mean, the graphic novel's got to definitely be, how many pages is that?
I mean, you're probably looking at over 200 and some, probably, I don't even know.
How many pages
does it even have a page count in here?
I
don't even know.
No, I don't.
It doesn't even have a page
count. But I'll tell you this, man.
Well, 48 pages times 5 issues is at least 200,
Yeah. And the forward is by Robert Rodriguez, which is badass.
Yeah, so, that was one of the reasons I picked it up because I wanted to read that.
Yeah, it was great. And It's funny
They should
too.
have.
Like
They should have given. By that same token, they should have given Robert Rodriguez a cover.
I've never seen him. I've never
He's
seen
got
like
some
his
very
art.
like abstract kind of art, but I think it would have been cool.
And now I'm thinking, how cool would it be to get a Rob Zombie cover? Like stop doing other stuff and just maybe do some artwork.
Yeah, I think his artwork would probably be a lot better than
his
other
movies.
things.
Well, let me
I
ask you
plead the
this one.
fifth.
Let me ask you this one. We'll get off of that and get on to what did you think of the Alan Qua covers?
I see it was different. Like once I realized they were a set and I wasn't going to get them all, I kind of shied away from them.
Yeah, okay.
I saw the first one and then I saw the second one and I was like, oh, why is Leo on a cover? And that was, issue 2 after we found out it was Mikey. And I'm like, why is Leo? I was like, that's odd. I like Qua's work. He's done some great stuff for crossover and stuff like that.
I think he's super underrated and just finally starting to get his footing. I know he's been working on the Hulk and like some Spider-Man stuff, but he's just getting there now where it's like, hey, take notice of this artist because he is freaking good.
And I think there are a lot of artists that are getting recognized because of the work they did for Ronin.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Mike Ruth himself has said, all I want to draw these days is turtles
and Muppets.
I used to talk. I was talking with Mike, way back during quarantine when I discovered tags and everything. And at that time, I was the turtles guy of the group. Everybody wanted Batman or My Little Pony or whatever, or Swamp Thing, and I'd be like, "Yeah, draw me Casey Jones." And that's where the coaster collection started. And I was the turtles guy in there for a while. And Mike was like, he had just done that #1 cover, and he's like, "Yeah, all I want to draw is turtles now."
That's so cool. Like between that and his Swamp Thing, I mean,
he's just crazy overall. Really, some of the stuff that he does.
Dude, one of my favorite things about Mike is the whole found object drawing.
Yes.
I sent him some stuff, by the way.
I sent something random, but he just draws with it. Like,
yes,
that's crazy. Like,
he has a couple of TMNT accessories right now that I gave to him.
We sent him a Swamp Thing, and he did his Swamp Thing, the first one with like the hand attachment that came with it.
Yeah, from the action figure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool. So Alan Qua, the first one for me is my favorite of them. But then you got the Leo, the Don.
Then
you've got Mike and Raph, and then you've got like.
So your favorite is the Ronin cover.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with that one. I own the Leo one, and I think I own the Mike. I traded the Don to Scott Cromer. Shout out to Chrome Comics. Our buddy that was on with all of the previews. I traded that to him for the Leo because Leo's my guy. So I had to, but I was a big fan, and I think that he's one of those guys to watch. Like where he goes next is going to be just like it's going to be crazy.
Oh yeah,
to see where he goes, and this was a huge springboard for him.
Well, I thought he signed with DC or Marvel or something.
He's in Marvel now.
He's in Marvel now.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I know he's in Malaysia and stuff, but I thought he signed to do some work for like one of them too.
Yeah, I try to follow him on social media, comment on his stuff. It's really good. And another one, you guys like the Miko Suyanam variants?
I like Suyan's covers, but I only got like 2 of them and I ended up selling them. Just like
I got the first ones for issue 1, like where he's just kind of the face and it's half of the turtle skull with like the sword.
Yeah, that's cool. That was a really cool one.
And there's 3 different versions, and there's a color version, there's a monochrome version, and then there's like black and white. And it's so cool. And if you guys ever read like Bloodshot or anything like that, he did Bloodshot, and it was set up like the Ronin, where there was 2 different art styles, and there was his style, and his style was the past, and then there was another one where it's like, okay, it's kind of like dark and inky, like Jay Lee style. And that was like the future of what's going on with like Bloodshot's daughter. His stuff is so hyper detailed. It's gorgeous. He's got Ninjak in there too, and I'm just like, wow.
Dude, I'm surprised that
no one jumped on this guy.
I was so surprised when they rebooted Ninjak. I was like, what? They brought it back?
And then they rebooted that too because they didn't like it. So, but we all kind of called that though, Rob. Like, it was too, like, nobody got it, you know?
Right.
It's like poor Jeff Parker was like, you know, doing that, and he's writing out the whole thing, and he's like, oh, I can't wait to get this going. And then it's like, oh, we're going to cancel it. It's like, why did you hype it up so much? You guys put out 4-5 comics a year. It's like, come on. Yeah.
I mean, we could say the same thing about DC, Warner Brothers, and Batgirl. They shot a whole movie and then threw it in the trash.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. That's going to be the new Fantastic Four, isn't it? You know, someone's going to leak out a copy of the uncut Batman.
The old
movie.
Roger Corbett version.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Definitely. But speaking of covers and stuff, and like, you know, another one of my favorites is like, I really like the cover that Noah Salt did for issue 5.
Yeah, his
with
issue
the
5
flames
was really good.
And Shredder standing over. You know, that
and
was
we all
great.
pre-ordered that without even seeing it. So sight unseen, we Noah's a great artist.
Yeah,
I would love to see Noah getting some extra press.
I remember issue 3 when Ben teased it in the Discord, and he teased like a corner. I saw a corner of Casey's mask, and I immediately messaged Noah, and I'm like, yo, let me get that away. And he's like, you haven't even seen it yet. I'm like, I don't care.
Nice.
And then he's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to sell it, but if I do, he's like, I'll hit you up. And I'm like, all right, well, we'll see. But do you guys think that IDW is going to go on a variant run for Lost Years?
Yes. 100%.
Yes.
They have no reason not to.
They're
doing it now for Armageddon game.
Yeah,
they're doing it.
Well, that's the thing is, I think instead of everybody just applying to do covers for every issue, I think what it is now after the whole variant mess of Ronin, IDW is they're taking select issues and being like, oh, this is 132. We're going to do a bunch of variants for this, but you know, 133 will get 3 covers. You know, A, B, and the RI.
This is, by the way, what DC and Marvel do now. So, like, it's nothing new. It's like, all right, it's not just a key issue. Like, it's not like, oh, it's Batman 132, the first appearance of, you know, Failsafe or something. You know, it's not that. You know, it's like, okay, now we got, I don't know, I was just throwing that number out there, but still, it's like Turtles 132 featuring, you know, this Bob, is it Thick or Bob Basic? You know, like it'll
Bob
be his cover.
Bob
yeah.
Yeah.
Great guy. By the way,
oh, Bob's awesome, dude, and I really like the cover he's doing for Max.
You know? Oh yes, absolutely.
You know, that's the thing is like, I don't know, like I still don't understand how they're going to run it concurrently with Armageddon game because we've got one more issue of opening moves, and then I think it's 4 issues of Armageddon game, and then they're still going to be doing the ongoing, and then
Saturday morning.
I'm hyped for Saturday morning adventures, dude. I'm hyped for Saturday morning adventures.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. They have a broad spectrum of the turtle stuff now. I mean, they see that. I'm sorry, but the turtle stuff. I mean, it's more popular than anything
now,
else.
Going off on a tangent here, Saturday morning adventures is supposed to pick up where the cartoons left off, right?
Supposedly,
okay.
it's
so it's kind of like what Kevin Smith did with Masters of the Universe Revelations, where it picks up at, you know, where the series left off. My question is it where the series left off, or is it? I want it to take place before the Red Sky season.
It's before the Red Sky season.
Okay.
That's
the whole Lord Dredd thing.
Dredd.
I mean, it was all right. You know, the only reason they created Lord Dredd
toys
is. No, the only reason they came out with that character is because that was right around the time when Power Rangers brought in Lord Zed and pushed Rita to the side. So they're like, oh, we need a new villain.
Well, Power Rangers kind of changed everything when it came to this because, I mean, you look at it this way, you know, they took out the Turtles, but then the Turtles went to Next Mutation, which was essentially a Power Ranger show. So it's kind of the same stuff.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's another thing I'm waiting for is the second installment of the crossover.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one, and
maybe we'll get that at SDTC. So
I completely forgot about
Freddie
that.
Williams, the second art.
Yeah.
Speaking of Freddie Williams, his
on your list.
His issue 2 incentive was I really really like that one. I know it's just like him, but I don't know. Like we all know
Issue
who
2?
Freddie Williams. Issue 2 was it? It was the incentive. Was it the incentive? Was it 2 or
Issue
3?
3. It's the 1 in 10 for issue 3.
I know the one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
I think
yeah. I can't remember.
he's
So
got
many of them.
one in this book too.
He did a number 5
Yeah.
for Kevin. For
Yeah.
which
the
is very cool.
Peacemaker
I
exclusive.
Him,
definitely
him, him, and Kevin worked together on a number 5, which
That's
is
another. That's
absolutely-
another one. Is the issue 5 1 in 10, the Dark Knight Returns homage with
It's not
Ronin
this
and
one that you're
Casey
talking
Marie.
about? Where are we?
No,
Right
that's
there.
yep. Issue
Yeah,
3.
that one. That's the one that's yeah.
That's in the book. So
Yep.
yeah, it's great. And if you were to ask me, just from the top of my head, like who are my top 5 Ninja Turtle artists, I'm not going to give you the full list, but Freddy's up there, absolutely in the
Dude.
top 5, 100%. I love his stuff.
Well, it's like I've always said, like, turtles have to look a certain way to me, but like, once again, you guys know my obsession with the Casey Jones character. Like, I've always said that Freddy is one of the top 5 Casey Jones artists.
Nice.
I
I mean, Biz, I imagine's up there, right?
Obviously, Biz, Mike Ruth. There's been some great Casey artists that just they're not regular artists. You don't normally see. It's just like random stuff, like
Yeah, I'm with you all the way on that one there, Eric. Like, I'm a huge fan of Freddy. Like the first time I had him on the show and all that, I was like, wow, how do I not geek out? About like the guy that did Batman.
And that's
Turtles
the guy who's super nice. Like I got a commission from him and I met him for the first time at Granite last year, and he was super cool, like when we did that dinner beforehand, like watching Freddie meet Jim Lawson for the first time was really cool. That was a cool moment.
That's cool. Granite seems to be like that mecca of turtles just all coming together.
And I think that's what they're trying to make it, man. I think that's what they're trying to make it.
That's what?
Might as well make it a Turtle Con. Might as well make it a Turtle Con.
Well, I think that's what they're trying to eventually. This is the thing is Double Midnight's trying to be all inclusive and not do just turtle stuff, but they need to realize that if they were the only Turtle Con, people are gonna go.
Yeah,
well, I mean, especially next year would probably be the best time to start doing a Turtle Con for the simple fact of, I mean, it's the 40th year anniversary. And it's going to be
but there needs to be something. There needs to be something in the collective consciousness. I mean, if Ronin is still going at that point, whether they do another sequel or another prequel,
it may be ramping down on comic books right now, but it's ramping up on action figures and video games and movies and series and stuff like that.
Yep.
We're getting another we're getting a movie like this week. We're going to get the Rise of the TMT movie. We're going to get the next movie, if not next year, then in 2024, the Seth Rogen movie. So we're going to have those. We're going to have like 6 new lines of action figures. We've got the Cowabunga collection coming out. We've got the Shredder's Revenge. I am positive they're going to do downloadable content for that movie.
Oh, they better because I still don't have the game yet.
Yeah, for that game.
I need to get a whole console before I can play the game. So, yeah.
Oh, I got a couple. I got a couple.
It was like the number 1 downloaded game, like as soon as it came out, end of June and all that.
Well, did you guys ever play the fan game Rescue Palooza?
I'm very aware of it. Every time I tried to play
it, but I've never played it.
Like Shredder's Revenge reminds me, like the gameplay I've watched and stuff reminds me a lot of Rescue Palooza. Like when I was playing Rescue Palooza, it was like finally I'm playing the Turtles arcade game, but I can play as Casey. I can play as April.
Usagi.
Ace Duck's in it. Mutagen Man's in it. Like they pulled a lot of people.
You can play as a
lot of deep cuts. And then when I saw Shredder's Revenge, and they were like, I'm like, so did they use the same engine? Did they give credit to these guys?
Not even close, it's like not even close the way it works. It's like super crisp too. Like the way that you play, you're like, oh wow. There was a good interview that I watched with these guys, and they were talking about how they built the thing from the ground up and all that. And I'm like, this is really sick.
Yeah. See, me personally, I'm me as a gamer, I'm a big time gamer. I got 27 Turtle games right now as we speak. All the way
Honestly,
from
man, I don't remember the last time. Like, I had a PS4 when the Batman one came out for Arkham Knight because I won the system.
Arkham Knight, or was it the Arkham Knight one? Yeah,
Arkham
Yeah,
Knight.
that'd be the last
When
one.
they had
Yeah.
the gunmetal gray with Batman on the system.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've only ever like after like N64, I only ever owned like the custom systems.
I
Like I had the
still
Halo
got
and the
it.
Mountain Dew Xbox and all that. I
Yeah.
still have my R2D2 360, but like my TV died 2 weeks into quarantine.
Oh no!
So I didn't have a TV that whole time because I couldn't fulfill my warranty because it was 6 hours on the phone with people who, there was nobody working.
Yeah.
I couldn't ship my TV or anything. I couldn't play. I didn't play video games for the longest time.
Yeah.
I was playing Steam on my laptop, and that was about it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
like
brutal.
I like my nostalgic games, and I'm excited.
Mhm.
But like honestly, like downloadable content for Shredder's Revenge and co-op play, or why I would want to get it.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is like that's my biggest thing is what I'm shocked about, because like I said, I play a lot of games, and I'm surprised they haven't did DLCs for the Shredder's Revenge, just for the simple fact I know that they can bring in what people call them now, skins, like different kind of like outfits for them. They could go with the retro outfits. They could go with, I mean, even bring in the Ronin, because I know Paramount and Fortnite are in talks of bringing the Turtles to Fortnite.
Yep.
So, I mean, my son plays it. I play with him and all that.
Are we
and
gonna
that's one of
get Fortnite exclusive comic covers like they did with Batman?
I don't know that they're going to do that. 'cause
See,
it's
I
with
would,
Marvel right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if IDW didn't do something like that too, because I mean, to be honest with you, Fortnite's a huge thing, especially for kids. And I'm not going to lie, I would buy it just for the simple fact for me and my son to have that on the game, because that's
Right.
something that
Most
me and
relatable
him
thing.
play together.
Yeah.
For
And-
sure.
Like that's one thing that this game is missing is DLC, because I mean they can make money doing the DLC with this. I mean, with us turtle people, I mean, we would go. I would definitely get it. My
As
wife would
far as
already
I'm
say,
concerned, you can get as nostalgic as you want with these side scrollers.
Yeah.
Let's reboot Tournament Fighters. Give me a legit Turtles fighting game. Like after they put them
Dude,
in
with
Injustice
fatalities?
2, it was fantastic.
we could do fit.
Injustice 2 was great, and I love it.
I have it.
I don't love
it.
all of them in there because, like, I had a harder time with Raph and Mike, probably, but I mean, playing as Leo, like, I was schooling people. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like
you
if they
wanna play-
updated Tournament Fighters and put like Hiroto in the Shredder suit, and like, they had a whole Ronin DLC where you could get like the flashback
Mhm.
versions of the characters and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
just bring
a legit
bring it
Turtles
into
fighting
Injustice.
game, or a Last Ronin open world like Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like,
See,
you
and
take
I was
Lost
thinking about that
Years,
too.
You take
I was
Lost
thinking about that
Years
too.
and you transport it into like use the Skyrim engine, and it's Mikey wandering.
Yeah.
Only
I
if it's
think
third
I
person.
said something to
don't
you
want
about
anything to
that,
do with it.
didn't I? I think I said something to Justin about this a while back about the whole like
You did,
them doing a Ronin game where it's open. It's like, because I play like the God. You ever play God of War?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking it's something like that where it had like a story, but maybe like God of War, but with a little bit of Breath of the Wild, where it's an open, like you said, like an open world type deal, and you upgrade and you go through all this process, but have the main story.
I see, like, if they were going to do a Ronin game, it would have to be a mix of styles. And, like, I 100% believe that Lost Years is going to be like a Kwai Chang Kane kind of journey.
Yeah, like Kung Fu, the legend
Yeah.
continues. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's going to, well, no, like the old movie, like the original movies where he was just walking around, like, after he left the monastery and everything. Like,
Mhm.
The explosion happens. Mikey wakes up. He thinks everybody's dead. He's heading towards what he thinks is the last remnants of his family, Donnie and Splinter. And he's just going to help people along the way. And it's going to be just that's my feeling, my prediction.
Also,
for
very
Lost
Incredible
Years.
Hulk, if you think
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Yep. And I feel like if you broke the game up and you did like when he's in the city, you do it kind of like a cyberpunk Arkham City kind of style, where it's contained in the city but it's still open.
Yep.
And then
Loved Arkham City.
For like when he leaves and he's traveling around, you do like Skyrim style.
Yeah.
And if they could like, and then, you know, once you've finished that portion, I mean, you could even make it first person, you know, once you finish that portion, you return to the city and it's the same structure as it was in the beginning of the game, but there's obviously changes. You got to get up the tower. You got to meet up with Casey Marie Jones. I think that would be a fantastic game.
I think it should be Chippendale Rescue Rangers style.
The Nintendo version?
The Nintendo version.
Oh my God.
You're throwing apples at people?
Yeah, exactly. Rubber balls.
Yes.
Running along fences and throwing apples and stuff.
Making Fat Cat and, you know, bionic kangaroos. That's my
Can we make it like original NES DuckTales style where you're hopping on a
Woo-hoo.
pole?
He's hopping
where
on
you're
a pole.
pogoing and
Hey, wouldn't that be fun?
But the TMNT universe, I mean, they have a lot. They have a lot going on. The TMNT world has been revived.
Well, as soon as you know, Lost Years and all that starts up, we're gonna have at least 3 Turtles titles as far as comics go, running all at once.
Yeah, Power Rangers, TMNT, Armageddon game, the Saturday morning.
Yep.
And then you also got the Continue. So I mean, they got 4. So the Continue series. I mean, they have a lot. I think.
Well, this is the thing: is Last Ronin brought Turtles back into the public consciousness.
Yeah.
And people will forget about it after a while, but then the movie's going to come out. They will inevitably do a movie, whether it's animated or whatever. But I mean, that might not be for 5-10 years. You know, we might not get. You know, I mean, it would be nice if they fast tracked all that shit and had us, you know, get it by the 40th anniversary. But like, I could see them doing it by the 45th.
It's going to be CG, the next movie, and the next.
You talking about the Seth Rogen version?
Yeah, it's going to be all CG. So, and I mean, the last time they tried something was the Bay, and I mean, the second one was better than the first one, if you ask me. But it wasn't what, you know, like they put the wrong people in charge of it. You know, because even like some of the casting was okay, but some was really questionable. Like Tony Shalhoub as Splinter. I'm like, I'm not really sure what you guys were going for. You know, none of this made sense. And
there were issues I had, like
Baxter Stockman. Loved it.
Tyler Perry's Baxter Stockman was fantastic. Yeah. And like, I'm never gonna forgive Steve Amell for turning Casey into a rent-a-cop.
Well, he just played the role. So
just not my Casey. But like the second one was great. Like, I always tell this story. Like, I met Eastman here in Detroit in 2020, and it was the only North American date on the tour. And I met him, and as I was waiting in line, and actually Michelle Ivy was behind me. She had her cart full of props and stuff, and that was the first time I met her.
She's awesome.
But
she's your neighbor too.
I was up at I was standing up at the table, and I was talking to David Wynn before I knew who he was. And I bought the Skyline variant for $100 because, you know, anything you bought from the table, Eastman would sign for free. And I was going to sign it and CBCS it. And there's this guy before me, and like he didn't get anything signed. He just walked up and he's like, I just wanted to tell you that the last 2 Michael Bay movies sucked. And I look at Kevin and I look at the dude, and he goes to walk away. I'm like, hold up. I'm like, that is rude as hell. I was like, you waited in line just to tell this man that movies he had nothing to do with sucked? I was like, first of all, that's rude as hell. Second of all, as somebody who grew up on the cartoon series, Out of the Shadows is the movie we all wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
Krang, Rocksteady, Bebop, we never got any of that in the original Turtles.
We got
movies.
Tokar and Razor. That's what we had.
They finally got around to giving it to us, and like, I loved Seamus as Rocksteady.
Dude,
I did too.
That was fantastic. Like now, if Seth Rogen, like, I understand it'll be CGI. I really wish they would go like the Who Framed Roger Rabbit route and do mixed. Yeah. You know, Give me Danny McBride and Craig Robinson as Rocksteady and Bebop.
Oh my god. Oh my god, Craig Robinson, that'd be hilarious. Yes. That is oh my gosh.
Oh man. Yeah. You know what? I love that. And that's great. So he would be Rocksteady and Danny McBride would be Bebop, or would you
Craig Robinson as Bebop.
Okay.
I seen the turtles. I seen them.
So that's funny because that's kind of closer to that JB Smooth sort of version, so which I loved. So he was just great in that role. That is man, that is exquisite fan casting. Wow. You heard it here
especially if
first.
it's gonna be Seth Rogen, you know. I mean, wasn't Bill Hader the voice of Krang in Outer Shadows?
Yeah, but you also gotta I think I don't know.
It was him or Fred Armisen?
I want to look that up right now.
No, I admit that when I first heard Seth Rogen was going to do it, like I had faith in him because of what he did with Preacher, and he stuck to the source material. But when they started talking about leaning into the teenage aspect, I was afraid it was going to be like super bad TMNT.
It's going to be fart jokes. Is like that's what he means. So it's like it's going to be fart jokes and pranks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like. You can't go into everything expecting it to be the Last Ronin. Like we have the Last Ronin, and it's great and it's separate, but it's not
Garrett.
Everything else. Oh, it was Brad Garrett that.
Oh, Brad Garrett, the guy from Everybody Loves Raymond, the brother.
Lobo himself. Yep. No, that's great. Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna watch it. Like I'm gonna watch this Rise of the TMT. I'm gonna watch all of them. It doesn't mean it has to be my favorite thing. I think that if I go back to it. Probably one of the best ones we ever saw is that 2007. That was all CGI.
I love that one. I love that one.
And Eastman's even said that's the best one he thinks they've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
With Mako, you have Mako doing the voice of Splinter, and it's like this is the guy from Conan the Barbarian. Who was the wizard. I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, this is so cool.
They really did a good job.
Yeah, I mean that was I really enjoyed that movie. You know what I'm saying? Like after, everybody kind of fell off after the third live action movie and stuff. And like, I really like the idea of the concepts they had for a fourth movie, but they never did, so they kind of cleaned it up. And, Patrick Stewart in the CGI film was fantastic,
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
You think about it too. You had coming off of her Oscar win for Crouching Tiger. The main character, what was her name, like Jen Yu or something like that, was doing Karai.
I don't know.
Sarah Michelle Gellar. Doing.
I don't know if it's just me, but your volume is very low. I can
low.
barely hear you guys.
Okay, it might. I don't know.
Let's see. Can you hear me now?
My volume's all the way up, so I don't know.
Can you hear me now? Hang on. Let's see. See if I can turn my stuff up. How about now?
A little bit better.
All right. Any better?
Yeah, a little bit better.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, the casting on that, really great. They did such a good job with that. And Chris Evans, would go on to become one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. And Kevin Smith was in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's, it had its absolute charms. And, I mean, it's a lot better, I think, than people remember it.
Right. Well, see, that's the thing is each generation has their turtles.
That is true.
Yeah. And that's why, Rise wasn't my thing, but there's a generation that's going to grow up with Rise as their thing,
Yep.
So it is what it is.
And they may play Shredder's Revenge and then go back and watch the 80s cartoon.
Right. For sure. For sure. And I'm honestly, I didn't watch much Rise. I watched the first couple episodes. I'm excited to see the movie. To figure, how it wraps up the series and stuff.
Because it's got Casey Jones.
Things.
Yeah.
Because of Casey Jones. That's why. I mean, just admit it. Just admit it.
It's totally true. It's
well, I mean, I was a little worried when they brought in Cassandra. And I was like, wait, what's going on? I thought that it was a whole alternate universe. Raph was leading the team, and I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. It's to us, to us, we're accustomed to the old school, how the old turtles were from the 1990s. You know what I'm saying? The 87 turtles, I should say. And that's the thing about my son. Like, he has seen the 87 turtles, he's seen the 90 movies turtles. He has seen every single turtles out there. He likes all of them. He even likes Rise. And then don't get me wrong, I'll watch Rise with him, but sometimes I can't watch it, but sometimes it intrigues me. And, and I'm not gonna
cool.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. And is like, whenever I sit there and like, I seen that trailer for the Rise movie, I was kind of like, okay, you got me interested.
It's like
a little
the Teen
bit.
Titans Go movie, man.
It was just like, okay, I mean, Rise has kind of grown on me a little bit, but not a whole lot. But with this movie, it's really got me intrigued. And I know once it comes out, me and him are just going to sit down, and just sit there and watch it. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
That's
the thing is, even if I didn't like the whole series, I've always been a sucker for backstory and like mythology of anything.
Yeah.
So like seeing how it all ties up and, how they made it from Raph to Leo and how they made their changes. Because Rise is essentially a prequel to, Turtles. It's a chapter of Turtles we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Just like Ronin. So it's interesting to see, but like, the art was a little bit jarring at first, but like,
yeah,
I mean, looking back at how many Ronin covers he did, can you imagine if Roiland had done Rise?
No,
I plead the fifth.
I don't get it. I just don't. It's like if the turtle showed up on Rick and Morty, sure, but I don't know. It's just like it's so separate in my mind,
Well,
Right.
They kind of have a broken canister.
Oh yeah, okay, all right, that's fair. I just want to bring this back. I literally went through almost all my covers. I didn't mention there's like 3 on here. Last Ronin number 4 from Johnny DeGiorginis, which he's been on the show and I can't even say his name. His number 4 cover and then his number 1 cover. I love him.
I liked his issue 2. That was the one
with the ghosts and all that.
Yeah, where it had like the ghosts in the background. But what I liked about the ghosts in the background was where Mikey or like one of them had like a big old piece of pizza coming out of their mouth and all that stuff. And they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Here's that Ben sketch cover I was telling you guys about.
Oh,
yeah. I remember that one.
Gorgeous.
Is it? What's that on? What issue is it?
This is the issue 100.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
I got 2 gearing up to work on Ronin, and he did an auction.
I remember that. I think I remember that one.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I wish he hadn't dated it because I wanted to CGC it, but obviously it's too late now. Because I wanted him to note that it was like, because Eastman did that Ronin cover and was like, first Ronin sketch cover.
Yep.
It would be sweet if Ben had noted that on there.
Oh, that'd be super sweet, actually.
I'm pretty sure if you take it to granted with you want to get it CGC, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to be sending anything more to CGC. I am going to try out the expert grading service. I'm waiting
to see your books come back from CBCS.
I don't know when that's going to happen because their system is not they currently do have everything going. Like they have all the materials and everything.
Yeah.
Like a plastic shortage or something?
No, they have all that.
Oh.
They have everything. This is what they told me. They have everything to grade it, but they can't do anything because their system on the internet is they don't have that ready right now, and it's been.
They fired the wrong IT guy.
Well, okay. my buddy Cody is a CBCS rep, and I see him at all the local shows. And I walked up to him and I was like, so I hear you guys are doing magazine size now at Last Ronin. And he's like, who have you been talking to? He's like, because those are all the questions I've been receiving all day. And he's like, no, He's like, in my opinion, we're not even close. He's like, we're having issues. And I was like, well, that's a bummer because that was right after you had told me you had submitted books at Lexington.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't want to be the guinea pig. And Cody
Would you
looks at
get
me and
into
he's like,
the
yeah,
pilot
I wouldn't
program?
either if I were you.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. And it's like because when he told me, he was like, yeah, these should be done with like in 6 weeks. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right. You know, I get my Peter Laird,
12
Kevin
weeks
Eastman.
ago.
Yeah, I get my Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman book signed. I get that back within, a month or two. And it's like, okay, why is nothing popping up on my account? Okay, a month later, I'm calling them up and I'm like you guys are just, I just kind of feel like I was lied to because the guy told me, he was like, this is supposed to happen and it's been almost 6 months.
Right.
What'd you pay for the service?
What I paid for the I want to say it was almost about $100 total for it. But I haven't heard it. I haven't heard anything else since the last conversation. I'm like, your biggest thing is I want communication. Now,
right.
That's the whole thing with that EGS guy. I called him up and I was literally talking to the owner. So, he just got new cases. He's getting new cases by the end of August, beginning of September. He just did a YouTube video about it, and they're doing magazine size.
Nice.
So, I mean,
interesting.
And I'm going to give them a try. Their cases. He got specially made cases done.
I'm all for more grading companies, especially with what everything's been going on with CGC and CBCS. Like, I'm all down for more grading companies, but I refuse to be the guinea pig for these grading companies.
I totally understand.
I don't blame you, and I have no problem doing it. I mean, I got plenty of books out. I'll spend $25 for it to be there for a month.
That's the thing, is the pricing is a whole lot better because there's
with the pricing, the turnaround time that he has down there, and he's already, like, whenever I talked to him, I was like, one of the biggest things is the turnaround time. And I'm not going to lie, I think we've all three have seen, as well as I have dealt with. I just sent 2 mechanical errors back. The Kankuku metals, the what is it? The
artist proofs.
Yeah, the artist proofs, not like the Kankuku ones, like those which Luna has. But I had to send 2 of those back because they were under my account. Because one, I could literally open up and stick my finger in there and touch the book if I wanted to. And then the other one, there was debris in the back of the book. And I've been seeing a lot of debris in people's books. One guy I literally did a phone call with, where the top edge where the label is was, I mean, like, literally you could put your finger in there.
Oh yeah,
where the label was.
Yeah.
And he just like, and then like one part was like there was a huge chunk missing on the very, very top of the label, and it was just like so rough.
Yeah,
so
their quality control is, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. You end up with someone like that, where it's like, oh, all I get is CGC. The only value you're going to get is CGC. That's how Diamond became as big as they are. Where it's like, and that's the only place you can go to get your comic books distributed. Well, DC and Marvel and like all the other guys, like Image, I think now, like they're all like, yeah, we're good being done with them. So yeah. I fully agree, Rob. There should be some sort of like checks and balances. Be like, you know what, I'm gonna take this.
I mean, it's right down to, when one company has a monopoly, they're obviously going to be, the favorite for a while, but then those companies start making mistakes because they get more popular and there's a huge influx and
debris in the back of your book. That's a issue.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing with CGC these days, and especially with so many with Ronin and everything. And I think quarantine had a lot to do with it. It's like people are slabbing books that don't need to be slabbed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
like the Ashcan.
I mean, that's cool because it's an oversized slab, And honestly, anything I get signed, I want a signature series just to protect it. Yeah. But like, you see a lot of blue labels for BS books these days. like.
Like you see
And
them
it's
selling for like
because
30,
so
40
many people
bucks.
just grade whatever a book is. They'll be like, oh, I'm gonna get, they submit 25 to 50 at a time, whether they're a shop or not. And it's just, they grade every book in hopes that one day they can make money off it and they can flip it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they end up breaking even or not even breaking even,
Yeah,
losing money on the deal.
I've
And I
seen
think
a
that's
lot
part of the reason why
Mirage Turtle
CGC is
stuff
so
like
backed
that.
up is because you have all these people submitting BS books.
Yeah, I mean it's. I mean, I've seen slabs go out there for 30, 40 bucks, and we already know, it's slabs are going for 70 just for, modern.
Yeah.
It's like
It's kind
70
of a
bucks
starting
just for
price,
modern.
yeah.
But that's just the starting price, and then when you start getting a walkthrough, which I paid walkthrough for my TMNT issue 1. I mean, I'm sorry.
I would too. High value books, a walkthrough is 100% worth it.
Yes.
100% worth it.
Don't they take 10% if you send it in? 10% the value of the book?
No, it's 3%. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's 3%
There's a
fair
cap
market
though,
value.
isn't there?
There is, but the more that you, because I did I insured mine, over the 5K. So the 5K is like the top, but once you start going over that, then that's when they start, going higher for the insurance and the shipping stuff. Pretty much that's where all that plays in and stuff. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, I've learned so much dealing with the CGC. Like I've with Luna, he's put books through my account, and so I've learned a
I'm
lot
surprised
from,
that dude never had his own account, like the elite account
Yeah,
with all
it
the
seems
discounts
like-
and stuff. Like
Well-
as much money as he spent on grading.
Here's the whole thing with him being a third shifter and me being a stay-home dad. Okay, he doesn't want to stay up all the time waiting for his books to come home. And then I could be there to pick up the books. I can also be the one that like, what's going on with my book here? Like I had a book that was a walkthrough that that they received in the mail June. It was like July 30th or July 20th something, and it just now got put in as received yesterday. That's a walkthrough.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
But they're only charging me standard time for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a hot mess.
Yeah.
What do you guys suggest for listeners who are looking to get either CGC, CBCS, or this elite grading? If they want to try it out, what do you think? What's the best way to go about having one of their Last Ronin books looked at? Because you were saying CBCS isn't doing it. What advice do you have for listeners?
Me?
Both of you, yeah. Because I'm not submitting stuff.
I would
ahead,
say
Rob.
be selective. And if you're submitting to like in-house signings, like the last in-house signing, I like getting my books graded, but I think and hot take here, I think people are too concerned with grades. Everybody freaks out because it's not a 9.8, 9.9, or a 10. Man.
I don't even care. I don't even.
They're like,
care.
oh, it's a 9.6. I'm selling this, and it's like,
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Yeah,
it's still a
I got an
near mint book,
8.5.
man. It may be a near mint modern book now, but down the road, and that's another thing. Isn't it about time that we received an age for this era of comics?
Oh, you mean like the 2010s plus?
The silver, platinum, silver, or platinum, gold, bronze, silver, and copper, modern books, it's been 30 years.
Yeah, you're right.
At some point, they're no longer modern.
Yeah.
Personally, I think because of the influx of overprinting in the 90s and because of the
speculator age,
the fad in 2010s and forward of everything doing, the novelty metal covers. The next step is it's the tin age. That's the next step after copper is tin, or nickel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it makes it sound cheap, but that's the next progression in alloys.
Can we go back to chromium? We go back to chromium, like the Lady Death #1 chromium cover from Chaos Comics. Can we go back to that, or maybe like the die cut covers like Wolverine #50?
Dude, the die cut covers, like when they redid Wolverine, what was it, 2 years ago? And Chip Zdarsky did the claw die cut cover.
Yep,
that's one of my favorite covers in recent years. I like the novelty covers. Like they did a die cut cover for that those Dune books, the House of the Trinity.
Actually, I have that. Yeah, I got that from Jolzar.
Yeah, and the die cut covers are a cool novelty, but I don't know.
Valiant did one that was carbon fiber, and they did another one that was made of glass, which is sick. And I'm like,
that's
if
pretty
anybody's
cool.
doing it,
glass is pretty sick.
That's like you have to buy 180 copies of the comic to even get that as a shop or something like that. So it's like you're getting 180 copies of Rye #4 or something before you can get this glass cover of like Shadow Man or something. So it's like that's good marketing, but it's as rare as you can imagine.
Right.
I don't know. I hope something like that happens. I hope that if folks are grading, that they are selective. And I don't have a lot of graded books. I have an 8.5 of Batman Adventures #12. It was the first appearance of Harley Quinn. So I have that. I'm super happy with that.
Well, it's like my first graded book was a Turtles third print, and it was an 8.5. And then I found, you guys remember how long I searched for that Raphael #1 second print, the Fun with Guns cover. And I finally found it, and it was an 8.5. So now my OCD has me chasing 8.5s.
Why not?
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and that's another thing. Like people say, like, oh, qualified green label is the kiss of death. And yeah, it is if you're trying to flip it. But like, especially with Turtles books, I think green fits the aesthetic. Even if it is a qualified book, like,
that's a good point.
If they still did red labels, I would try and find a way to engineer green, blue, yellow, red, and purple.
That makes sense.
Just so I can get the Turtles aesthetic with all the different CGC labels.
Yeah.
I think that would look cool just on display. I wouldn't care about like what each label meant, but I would have to engineer it where I would have to restore a cover, something like that just to get the purple label.
Yeah.
I just realized we're going on 2 hours here. I have
one
other artist that I want to mention on here. And that's I was a really big fan of the Jason Flowers cover for issue #1 from Epicos.
I was a big fan of that cover. That's
a great cover, man.
When issue 1 came out, that's like because I had met Jason in 2018 without realizing it. I met him at Motor City.
Nice.
But we got to talking because I started watching his lives and started getting pieces from him. And when that cover came out, he was looking for that Eastman #1, the NYCC. And I traded him the Eastman and a blank, which I traded that blank for a lot less than it is worth now. Because I started out with like 6 white blanks. I bought 6 white blanks because I bought 2 from Eastman unsigned. And then I found a guy who was an authorized guy. He used to work for IDW and he was authorized to sell. And I bought like 4 off him. And I traded Jason a blank and my extra NYCC cover for 2 commissions and when he was doing those grab bags of prints. So that's how I got my Casey cover from Jason.
It's a great cover, man.
An homage to his #1 cover.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that one. I've seen the pictures of it. It's gorgeous.
And I really like what he did with #5. The homage to the Mirage.
I actually have
issue.
the framed print of this one because I liked it so much.
Yeah, those are cool.
Like I
have a couple interesting. I have the Casey piece that he did for me, and then like he did a couple of Ronins on colored paper. There's a Ronin in the snow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember that one. I know which one you're talking
putting
about.
art into a portfolio.
He's starting to turn out like Michelle Ivy.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're in here.
We've certainly shouted out a lot of friends on here. I know we talked about Luna, Steve Luna. We talked about John.
I don't know if they're in here. I've got.
Michelle.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Yep,
Ronin
that's
snow
gorgeous.
and then Ronin.
I like that one. I really like that one.
You got to take a picture of that red one so we can share it.
He actually made prints out of them.
That's gorgeous.
He was selling prints of both these pieces.
Wow.
Yeah.
That might actually be better than the cover that I was just talking about. That's really
no. That would have been.
I mean, there's a lot of like
that would have been a good one for issue 4.
Yeah,
that would have been if
well,
you would have
like,
did it issue 4.
My BJ Hahn piece is based on Casey Marie from issue 1 because we didn't know how she was going to turn out.
I love it.
Stuff like
that's
that.
Awesome.
But
man, that's some cool stuff.
Oh, speaking of Jason Flowers, this is one of my favorite pieces by him. It's him as a turtle.
It definitely looks like him. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious!
It looks
I
just
love
like
it, but it's awesome though.
Yeah, it looks just like him, man. It's him as a mutant turtle. And
Who's
for
that
a
on the other
while
side?
there,
Is that
I
Roy?
thought about
You got Roy's
I
art
thought
on the other
about
side
making
there?
it a theme because I figure at some point I need to back off of Casey related stuff because eventually I'm going to have too much. So if I started doing like, okay, I want this artist to draw themselves as a turtle. Like that's why I'm especially leaning towards guys like Mike Ruth. You know, like Mike Ruth as a turtle, like, you know.
That'd be badass.
I doubt anybody's going to get a commission from Bishop anytime soon because he's so busy. So, but it would be funny to see him draw himself as a turtle. You know, even the people who say, "Oh, I don't do likeness very well. I don't do self-portraits very well." Well, just draw a turtle and give him your features.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a great idea. Actually, I love that. I'd love to see that from like an Amanda Connor or you know, like someone else just to like do something else like in their style. That would be so cool. Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
I mean, speaking of Amanda Connor, I actually liked her cover, the cover of the IDW exclusive they did for number 5.
Great detail on it, and the color is amazing on that one. It's really good cover. Yeah.
Like IDW did some good exclusives for issue 5s. I mean, they pumped them out. Like I really like the Koi Fam cover.
For issue
there's
1.
A couple others in there. I got most of the exclusives, but
I mean, we didn't talk about some of the other artists that are on there, like the Kale Nagu. Really cool covers. And I mean, there's so many artists, and I mean, like we're leaving out a whole bunch. We left out a whole ton of artists that are great. And this is gonna make the career of a ton of artists. You know, they're gonna get noticed. They'll be like, "Oh my God, you were the one that did that." So it's just like, you know. But these are just our personal favorites, and I think we all agree on number 1 is that Ben Bishop issue number 2. You know, it's like that's my number 1
iconic cover.
That's gonna be like you're gonna see people with that tattooed on them. You know, like it's just so great. But since I
think it's a perfect representation of the emotion that is in Ronin, and it's a perfect summation of what the series is about. If somebody was going to go in and that's issue 2, but like when you're like, okay, well, what this series about? You show them that image. You know, it's like I have the T-shirts that Ben made, and I was I was at the gas station the other day, and my buddy's like, oh, so is there a 5th turtle we don't know about? And I'm like, well, technically there is now, but that has nothing to do with it. And I was like, how did you come to that conclusion? He's like, well, all the weapons and the 4 bandanas in front, and then you got a turtle. He's like, is that a 5th turtle? I'm like, no, it's Mikey. Everyone else is dead. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
That's what we said.
Yeah, people get so shocked about the whole why they kill off all the turtles, and I'm like, you have to read.
But that's why I say like that cover is the summation of what the story is about.
It's not even the first time that's happened. You know, it's like
exactly.
I I mean,
But
granted,
you know, I
like,
mean,
2 other times
most of the
it didn't stink.
casual Turtle fans aren't aware of that. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
what?
it's
You
like-
never read Souls Winters? You don't know Armageddon? Or was it a Carmageddon? You know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, I mean, even taking it, you know, all the way into the IDW run. Like, I thought Donnie was dead when they beat the crap out of him.
Well, he kind of was. You know, it's like, I mean, look at it this way: whoever's dead, are they truly dead? You know,
No one
I mean,
ever really dies in comics.
Yeah, it's and I mean, this is from we have Shredder as a ghost for leading into Armageddon
Yeah.
game, and he
Yeah,
was.
that I thought that was an interesting take, and I really enjoyed the art in this last issue.
I am enjoying the whole run. I know a lot of people aren't into post 100 issue, but this is the only time that I can honestly say that they've taken time to develop these characters as people, and it's the only time it's ever happened. And I mean, they got the right person. The art has been good. When it's consistent, it's good. It just kind of depends. Like, and I mean, you were even talking about the Jenica series. I had Bram Ravel on, and I really like what he did. He gave her character. She's a punk rock person who had like she had like this history of crime and abusive boyfriends and stuff like that. We know who she is going into this. Where like all of a sudden she wants to fight.
It was a whole backstory that was never really given to her because when we met Jenica, she was just a member of the Foot.
She was a blank slate that was an assassin. We had no idea who she is. And we have that roundness to her now. Like, we know more about her than we do about Alopex.
Do you think we would have gotten that backstory had the character not become a mutant turtle?
No, absolutely not. 100%. I don't think that we would have. And I think it's like, and I mean, I agree because, like, look at it this way. What do you know about Bludgeon and Koya? Very little, unless you read like the Turtles Universe series, and still past that, where did they go? They're still there. They were just in the issue with Toka and Razor, but they're not there anymore.
It's like during the future, when Lita came back from the future and everything. Like, I think it's Bludgeon and Leonardo are in a relationship or something.
No, Koya.
Is it Koya?
Because they hate each other. Because going all the way, I think she's actually how he got his scar, on his eye. Talent. So it's like they just don't like each other at all.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
It's just interesting to see the changes made.
It's fun, man. This is like prime time Turtles comics time, and I'm so excited leading into this. And I'm sure you guys are too. And shout out!
It's nice to see. Like I said, it's nice to see that. Out of the ashes of the pandemic, Turtles is now like back in the public consciousness.
Absolutely.
We're getting new movies. We're getting all that stuff.
Games, figures.
Tom Waltz coming back, and he's coming back strong. Sophie Campbell is ramping down on her run. And did some really cool stuff, bringing in all these nostalgic elements that have never been in mainstream comics before.
I'd really like to see. I really hope Santa Luca comes back.
That would be cool
for at least a couple issues.
Yeah, I hope that they get with it and they give the ongoing artwork to Mike Ruth. That would be ultimate for me. With
you talking about interiors or covers?
Interiors, absolutely. I would love that.
I love what he did with Dodge.
Yeah,
and the retcon universe and everything.
And then the other thing we need an anthology book. We need small stories like Hellboy, where we've got like 2-3 page stories that it moves on and it goes something else, and call it like Turtles Anthology. You get all these different artists that did all these cover art and all that. You get like new and upcoming writers that host podcasts, to write like little stories about the Turtles, and then move on, and you have your own anthology book. Then
that's how it all. Lawson used to have small stories. Talbot used to have all the stories, the little side stories in the back of Mirage.
Yeah, like Mikey, who is falling asleep watching horror movies, and he's attacked by Dracula and Frankenstein's monster and a werewolf. Then he wakes up and he's like, "Oh, I'm never doing that again." That's a story,
right?
I love it.
Well, it's all that old Mirage, all those old short Mirage side stories that I used as inspiration because I'm writing the 5-page side story for Bounty Bullfrog issue 2.
Yep.
With Jason. And he's like,
We
yeah, it's a
had heard
5-issue
that.
story. And I was like, it's going to be really hard to condense the story. And then I wrote the treatment and we hammered it out. Like, I've always been a writer at heart, but it's always been, novels and screenplays. Like, I have so much more respect for comic writers now because having to storyboard and panel all that stuff out. And like, I had conversations with Ben and with Stefan and, other comic writers, for advice. And Ben's over here like, every panel is an action. And I'm like, no way in hell.
Yeah.
No way in hell.
I can
Every
see how
page
he
is.
would
I
say
was like,
that.
I got 5 pages to tell this story, man. No way every panel is a separate action. I said, there's no way. I said, unless I have 30 panels a page. I said, and there's no way Jason's going to draw that. He's going to look at me and be like, are you insane?
Oh my God. I totally.
It's a lot of work.
I agree. I want to cut us off before 2 hours, but I do want to mention the Turtle fan art cover, right? With Casey Jones did some art, Aaron Hazari, Ethan did some art for that one, Casey Wilson, and more that I'm forgetting. But
Chris Vance, Dylan Andrews,
yep.
Ernest is on there.
I said Ethan. I'm sorry, but yeah, Ernest. Acosta,
that Fritz guy, I can't remember his name.
But I mean, what the chance of a lifetime for these guys to do this?
Oh yeah,
and
well, not only are they on a Ronin cover, but they're on a Ronin cover with Kevin Eastman. And I mean, if people are spending money to get one cover, buy that cover. Because it's like that cover has the heart of the series, the heart of the characters, the heart of the fandom. And I would honestly say that if you pick up one cover, try to find that one, because I love the fact that it's a connecting story. It's basically told in panels, and majority of those artists are supposed to be at Granite, so I'm hoping to get it all signed and slabbed and get everybody's names on a label.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Obviously Jason's not going to be there.
Well, you could probably send it to a couple.
He needs to go.
We've been talking to him about that for the last year or so.
I've told him. I've talked to him too, and I'm like,
he likes to stick to his local shows. Since
I'm telling you, he needs to go.
Yeah,
he needs to go. Randy has got on him about it. So
yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. Is like you're trying to get as much people as possible. Like I said, Jason likes to stick to his local shows for right now. I mean, I know he used to do further off shows, but I think COVID changed a lot of things for a lot of people, especially artists. Like,
got day jobs too.
But for example, like I was having a conversation with, you guys know Papa Sibo.
Yeah, of course.
I was having a conversation with Sibo, and I said, what we need is a Comic-Con cruise down the East Coast. You started like New York, and you go up, Canada, and that way artists can book to be on the cruise the whole time, or you can have events set up at each port stop so that these artists don't have to travel to make appearances. We go to them.
That's a smart idea.
And it would be a cruise down the East Coast, Canada to Florida, and then back up again or whatever.
I'd cook.
It'd be like a week or so. And then it would be, traditional cruise ship, like you'd have turtle events and panels and stuff. But then, for the adults, you'd still have like a casino on there and restaurants and everything.
You mean for the wives?
Like they have those concert cruises, the shipwrecked cruise and stuff like that. Like a Comic-Con cruise would be perfect because it would work out for the artists. And then, it'd be a vacation.
That's $1 million idea. I don't think idea. you need to edit that out.
Yeah. Well, anyway, with that, we're gonna say goodbye. I will be right back with the pizza recipe.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys.
That was my
I'm
next
glad
thing
I finally got around to being on. Maybe I can get on with you guys here in the future.
All right. Any place do you want people to follow you? Anything like that? Like, do people check you out on social media? Or
I don't really.
And do you
have aside from Discord and Facebook, I don't really have a whole lot of promotion stuff to plug. I don't. I'm Dungeon Rob. I'm Dungeon Rob on Instagram, but like I've been really slacking on posting stuff on Instagram and stuff lately. But for the most part, don't really have a whole lot to promote just yet. Obviously, of course, until Jason finishes Bounty 2, and then I'll be ramping up promotion for my part in that. So
Heck
we'll
yeah.
see.
I'm excited. I think I'm in on that Kickstarter. But on that, guys, we will be right back with your pizza recipe of the week.
Hi, this is Francois Chow. I am the shredder from Secret of the Ooze. And it's been a pleasure for me to talk to Justin and Eric on Epic Tales from the Sewers. It's been great, guys.
It's pizza time.
And now, in a segment that we call Pizza Time, where we discuss any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or pizza-related food, I give you Pizza Time.
Hey everyone, your pizza today is the Mac Attack. Can't decide whether you want mac and cheese or pizza? On this mega awesome pizza, you can have them both together at the same time. Ingredients: cornmeal or flour for dusting, extra virgin olive oil for brushing and greasing, 2 cups uncooked elbow macaroni, 1 1/2 cup whole or low-fat milk, 2 tablespoons unsalted butter, 2 tablespoons all-purpose flour, salt, and freshly ground black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon paprika, 1/2 teaspoon Dijon mustard, 1 cup shredded white cheddar cheese divided, 1 cup shredded Gruyere cheese divided, 1 heaping tablespoon minced fresh chives, plus more for garnish, 1/2 cup heavy cream, 1 pound ball pizza dough, homemade or store-bought. Instructions: if you're using a baking stone or a steel pizza stone, place your baking stone on the middle rack of the oven and preheat the oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Dust a pizza peel or inverted baking sheet with cornmeal or flour. On a baking sheet, preheat the oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit with a rack in the middle position. Lightly coat a heavy-duty rimmed baking sheet with olive oil. Step 1. Bring a pot of salted water to a boil and then cook the pasta al dente according to the package directions. Drain it well. Step 2. Pour the milk into a small saucepan and warm it over a medium-low heat just until it steams. Don't let it boil. Step 3. In a separate, heavy-bottom saucepan, melt the butter over medium-high heat. Whisk in the flour and cook, whisking constantly until it forms a smooth, bubbly paste. Be careful not to let it brown. Whisk in the hot milk for 3 to 5 minutes or until the sauce thickens. Season to taste with salt and pepper. Bring the sauce to a boil. Reduce heat to low and cook for 2 minutes. Step 4. Reduce from heat. Stir in the paprika, mustard, 3/4 cup of cheddar, and 3/4 cup of Gruyere. Stir until the cheeses are completely melted. Then add the chives, cream, and pasta. Mix gently until well combined, and then taste and season with additional salt and pepper as desired. Step 5. Stretch or roll the dough into a 12-inch disc and place it on the prepared pizza peel or baking sheet. Brush the dough with olive oil and then shimmy it from the peel to the hot baking stone or transfer to the baking sheet in the oven. Bake for 5 minutes or just until the edges of the crust begin to brown. Step 6. Remove the crust from the oven. Spread the mac and cheese onto the crust, leaving 1/2 inch border of dough all around. Just enough to let the mac and cheese make a 1/4 inch thick layer. Some leftovers in the refrigerator. You can store the leftovers in the refrigerator for up to a week. Step 7. Sprinkle the remaining 1/4 cup of cheddar and 1/4 cup of Gruyere over the top. Bake the pizza for 8 to 10 minutes or until the crust is blistered and the cheese begins to brown. Step 9. Remove the pizza from the oven, let it rest for 5 minutes, and then sprinkle the remaining chopped chives. Slice and serve. And that is your pizza for the day. It is the Mac Attack Macaroni and Cheese Pizza. Cowabunga, dudes! Thank you for listening to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. This podcast has no affiliation with Eastman, Laird, Mirage Studios, IDW Studios, Archie Comics, or Nickelodeon Studios. This podcast is a member of the Dorkening Podcast Network. Check out thedorkening.com for other podcasts. Epic Tales from the Sewers is recorded by Justin Cooper and Eric Will.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for, and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Greetings! We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, the bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
He's right. We wax philosophic about lots of geeky crap like old video games and movies, toys, cartoons. I don't know, help me out here.
Music, pants, quoting video games that don't have dialogues, shabibans, tasty news,
Unnecessarily long Japanese onomatopoeia.
butt breathers, uncomfortable nature facts.
Or how to install a thermoflange.
And unlike all those other podcasts, we at Retro Reductopus have an exciting rotating host schedule.
Do we? We sure do.
So, if you didn't like the guy flapping his gums this week,
Like me.
worry not, gentle listener. Next week we'll have a whole new host.
Of problems.
Hey, they might still suck, but they'll suck differently.
And you know what's really cool? Retro Reductopus is part of the Dorkening and Inebriar podcast networks, with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
Which is like every other Tuesday. We named it.
Anyways, you can listen to us at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, or any podcast player cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all things that make growing up awesome.